Welcome back to Literary Criticism. In this video, we are going to learn about formalism. Formalism is a branch of literary criticism and literary theory that concentrates on the formal or structural features of the text. Formalism attempts to treat each work as its own distinct piece, free from its environment, era, and even author. This point of view developed in reaction to forms of extrinsic criticism that viewed the text as either the product of social and historical forces or a document making an ethical statement. Formalists assume that the keys to understanding a text exist within the text itself, and thus focus a great deal on the formal or structural features such as syntax, grammar, and literary devices. Russian formalism refers to an innovative 20th century Russian school of literary criticism. At first, opponents of the movement applied the term formalism derogatorily because of its focus on the formal patterns and technical devices of literature to the exclusion of its subject matter and social values. Later, however, it became a neutral designation. It began in two groups. Opoyas, an acronym for Russian words meaning Society for the Study of Poetic Language, founded in 1916 at St. Petersburg, later Leningrad, and led by Viktor Shklovsky. The second group is Moscow Linguistic Circle, founded in 1915. Other members of the groups included Osip Brick, Boris Ekenbaum, Yuri Tinyanov, and Boris Tomaszewski. An important concept introduced by the formalists is literariness. According to the formalists, human content in literature did not possess any significance in defining what was literary about the text. The formalists collapsed the distinction between form and content. The writer was of negligible importance too. Explanations which base their arguments on spirit, intuition, imagination, or genius of the poet were rejected. The object of literary science is an authorless literariness. All the emphasis is on the literariness of the formal devices of a text, such as phonetic structures, rhythm, rhyme, meter, and other elements which contribute to the deviations in language. Viktor Shklovsky summarizes this attitude in his definition of literature as the sum total of all the stylistic devices employed in it. Defamiliarization. Shklovsky was the lead critic of the group and contributed one of their most well-known concept, defamiliarization, introduced in his work Art as Device. Shklovsky's concept of defamiliarization is the technique of art that makes us see the strange aspects in the familiar and the unusual in the ordinary things of life. The demands of normal existence blunt our perception of things and they become to a great extent automatized. The purpose of a work of art is to change our mode of perception from the automatic and practical to the artistic. Another important concept introduced by the Russian formalists is the distinction between fabula and sujet. The Russian formalists like Viktor Shklovsky and Vladimir Prop differentiated between story and plot. They stress that while story or fabula is merely the chronological sequence of events, the raw material awaiting the organizing hand of the writer, plot or sujet is the order of presentation in the narration which is strictly literary. Fabula is the action itself, while fabula is how the reader learns of the action. Sujet creates defamiliarization effect upon fabula. Motivation is another concept introduced by Russian formalists. Free and bound literary motive. A further concept in Russian formalism is what Tomaszewski called motivation. A motive is the smallest unit of plot, a single statement of action. Tomaszewski made a distinction between a free motive and a bound motive. A bound motive is required by the story, whereas a free motive, while not essential to the story, is the literary point of view of the text and its aesthetic quality. Thus, this motive is essential for the aesthetic quality of the text. This concept is a reversal of the traditional view that literary devices are employed by the content. Here we can see that the content or the motive is employed by the literary need of the text or aesthetic need of the text. So these are the important concepts that you have to learn about formalism. Thank you for watching.